I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to go far, Energy or C9. I think they're both good teams and have good players. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if they have like quarters or semis runs.
What's up, everyone? Digon here, and joining me after his final match here at Worlds is the young man in the mid lane for Team Liquid. It's APA. Hey, man, just kind of give me a vibe check after this last several series and kind of the matches here against GAM.
Vibe check. I mean, it's just like depressing. It's just the only word
Yeah,
for I can really use
yeah,
because I mean, I think we had the possibility to do really well in this tournament,
sure.
if I'm being completely honest, with what was happening in scrims.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the last week, almost, it feels like everything just fell apart.
What do you think changed between, I guess, the beginning of last week of scrims to I guess this last week and how it unfolded?
Um, I mean, it's definitely a lot of things. Like, it's definitely just stressful being at Worlds, and then losing to T1, which should have been like our game. I think we all felt like,
Yeah,
and then like the loss after Energy, it was just like a continuing downward spiral. Where like, I mean, just yeah, like after those two losses, and then scrims were rough this week. We did not win that many games compared to like weeks previously,
sure.
and then yeah, I mean, just rough. And then things that we were all practicing, we didn't go within the series, or we didn't like feel comfortable playing because of stuff that was happening. So, I mean, just it's a combination of a lot of things.
Kind of talk me through this series. It felt like, I mean, you had some really great plays, including the 1v2 counter at the top lane in game number two. Pretty solid hand on the Nico there, but Oriana seemed to be difficult in game three. You guys went away from carrying the jungle, went with Jax on the top. Kind of talk about how you view these three games.
Um, I mean, the first game was just we pick Oriana. I mean, she's probably best mid on the patch,
Yeah,
and then I like slightly lose lane. I didn't necessarily have everything that should have gone right for me, even though I was finding like lethal. I wouldn't say finding lethal, but like finding good chunks in him throughout the lane.
yep,
And then, I mean, fights were just hard, and we weren't playing out how we played out that Oriana comp before because we played a bunch of Oriana comps and scrims, obviously. Um, yeah, I mean, oh, it's so hard.
yeah,
And then, yeah, so after game one, we didn't really have a lot of confidence on like mage comps, so we wanted to go more towards fighting comps, which is why we picked Nico and Ari games two and three. I mean, game two was still a little bit close, but like we just won team fights and they
yeah.
didn't, so we just won. And then game three, it's like kind of similar. We were in it until we just lost a couple fights. Like I remember I got picked top lane and it kind of like chained into core dying, into us fighting bot, like everyone dying, and then it's just like a really rough game after that. Yeah, I mean, oh, yeah, it's
Yeah,
just hard.
yeah. I think you had some tough patches, tough scrims on this patch. Kind of down week. Coming into Worlds, like what was the expectation? What were you guys talking about? Was it, hey, one win at a time? Was it, hey, we're getting out of groups? Like what were the conversations like with the team and the staff?
Well, the conversations were in Korean, so I didn't understand them. But um, I mean, for me personally, and for like the gist I got, we were just focusing on scrims. And I mean, to be honest, at the start, we were doing really, really well in scrims. Like we were taking scrim sets off of a bunch of the Eastern teams. So like I think coming into this, we had a lot of high hopes. So yeah, I mean, it just sucks to like crash and burn at the end. That's like the only way to describe what happened to us. I think we could have been a very competitive team, and just at the end, everything crashed.
do you feel like do you feel like you could have held up with some of the best mids of the world, given the scrim results and feedback you got from scrims?
Um, I was holding my own for the most part. I think sometimes I would end. Sometimes I would do really well.
I see that smile.
Um,
I see that smile, man. Sometimes.
yeah. So it just depends. I did learn a lot coming here. So like overall, it's not like a terrible experience, even though today or this I mean this week just really sucks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I mean yeah, I feel like we're like not just me, but everyone was holding their own versus every other player, like for the most part. So I think we had a lot higher expectations than whatever place we got. I don't even know what place we are. Like what, 16th?
Yeah. What is the biggest delta, or I guess deviation from your expectation coming into Worlds to what you experienced?
I think game one was like kind of what we imagined, where we were very close with T1 throughout
Yeah,
most of the game.
yeah.
And then, just lost one fight. It happens, it's whatever. And then game two was probably the biggest deviation where I mean, let's be real, I fucking sprinted that game down. So, I mean, it's just like game two versus energy. I don't think any of us expected to get smashed that hard,
Sure.
especially by them. Even though we've lost to them in the past, it was never like that bad.
Yeah. Um, I guess finally to wrap it up, this is your first Worlds experience. Um, all of us that have been following your meteoric rise and through collegiate, hearing about you from Twitter years ago, watching you back at Barrage and all that stuff. Uh, what is the message you got? Let's use your parents. Your parents support you through every single game. I got to meet your mom and dad, over at
Yeah.
LCS. What is the message for supporters and to them? Address your parents here.
Um, I mean, this tournament from the outside perspective has been very rough, but on the inside, I think I truly learned a lot just how like the really elite players play, and I've tried to replicate that a lot. And even in our series, I was still doing that for a scam today.
Yeah.
It's just some things need to do a little bit better, but I mean, next year I'll just take what I learned and come back stronger.
Final words for the NA teams and I guess Western NA teams. Yeah, I guess you could just NA teams that are still in here.
I mean, it feels weird to say this because I mean we just lost, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to go far, Energy or C9. I think they're both good teams and have good players. So I personally wouldn't be surprised if they have like quarters or semis runs.
APA, everyone. Again, despite tough loss, again, fantastic year. Growth mindset throughout this experience. And congratulations, making Worlds. We'll see you when you get back, brother. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
See ya.
All right.